Hey guys, so I just got out of seeing Jurassic World Rebirth, finally. It seems like everybody has seen this movie except me at this point because of all the early screenings and seen, unseen movies and all that stuff that they're doing. So, yeah, I just thought I'd get on here real quick and give y'all my non-spoiler quick thoughts. I'm literally just now getting out of seeing the movie, so it's still kind of fresh in my mind. This is all unscripted, so yeah, I'll just tell y'all real quick without any spoilers what I thought of it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I didn't love it. I was very... When I watch, certain movies, especially... Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. When I watch certain movies from certain franchises, especially Jurassic, I view them two ways. I view them as an amateur film critic, film snob, cinephile, whatever, and then I have to view them as a hardcore Jurassic fan. So I have to kind of balance those two when I watch these kinds of movies. I actually liked this movie more as just a generic monster movie than I did as a Jurassic movie. I had some serious problems with this movie as a fan in terms of lore, in terms of world building, in terms of just overall execution of certain things that I was hoping would be better than they actually were. But I'll start with the positives first, because there are a lot of positives. First of all, Gareth Edwards' direction was phenomenal. The dinosaur action sequences were absolutely spectacular. Just the way he's able to shoot them and make these things seem massive, it was everything I was hoping for, because we had come to expect that from his previous work on things like Godzilla and Rogue One and Creator. So all that was phenomenal. The cinematography-wise, the film looked absolutely gorgeous. This is probably the most beautiful-looking Jurassic movie since The Lost World. I personally loved going back to the Back to Basics island setting, with rundown engine laboratories and facilities. As a Lost World and JP3 fan, I loved that stuff. So I liked that we went back to that. I know some people aren't a fan of that, particularly the people who were Dominion fans and wanted to see that story explored more, but I personally was fine to go back to this as a Lost World and JP3 fan. So island settings are my thing. So that was all great. I really liked the three main lead characters. ScarJo, Zora Bennett, I really liked her. I really liked her dynamic with Mahershala Ali's Duncan Kincaid and the backstory between them. And I loved Jonathan Bailey as Henry Loomis. I loved him. I thought he was great. Definitely the standout of the movie, and I can see why that opinion is shared by so many others. He's automatically become one of my favorite Jurassic characters now. I loved him. I want to see more of him. Same with ScarJo. I really liked those three characters. It was good. That's the best I can say about it, unfortunately. I can't sit here and say that it was great or anything. I liked it. I didn't love it. I have some major issues with it, more as a fan than as a film critic, so take that what you will. So characters were good, cinematography was great, directing was great, action sequences were phenomenal. The dinosaurs themselves looked incredible. Like, this film has some of my favorite designs of any dinosaur in the franchise. Like, this has become my favorite T-Rex design ever, more than the Buck. Even though they weren't shown a whole lot, spoiler, I guess, kinda. This raptor design has become one of my favorite. I love the Titanosaurus design, the Mosasaurus design. I even like the Spinosaurus. The dinosaurs themselves in this movie were fantastic. And unlike Dominion, this film is actually about dinosaurs. I know, who would have thought. So yeah, all that was good. Now to get into Alexander's Alexandre Desplat's score, also phenomenal. I loved the score in this movie. It was fantastic. So yeah, all that was great. Time for negatives. And like I said, I have to be careful with this because I don't want to spoil too much. This film really frustrated me as a fan, just in terms of lore and world building, because a lot of people have been comparing this to JP3 just in its execution. Some have said it's basically JP3 but longer. And I can definitely see where they're coming from with that, because yes, this is a spoiler-free review. I just talked about all of my positives. So when I record this, you can go back and listen to the positives. So this film doesn't explain anything, and that really frustrated me as a fan who likes learning more about the lore and the world and expanding it. This film doesn't explain anything. You remember all those fan theory videos we saw of, why did they make the D-Rex? Was Mizrani in on it? Was it for Jurassic World? Was it a mutated T-Rex? You can kiss all that goodbye, because this film doesn't explain anything. It just exists. That's really all to it. It just exists. And that frustrated me. Same with the Mutadons. Why do they exist? They just do. There's no explanation for why they're made, or what was the purpose behind it, or anything. Same with the island itself. We really don't get a concrete reason why this island exists or what its connection is to previous stuff. And that frustrated me as a Lost World JP3 fan, because I was really hoping that this film would have a good justification for why this island wasn't Site B, Isla Sorna. And they didn't give one, as far as I'm concerned. They did not give a good enough justification why we needed another island. So yeah, that was frustrating. Same with the Mutadons. I was hoping, because I loved that raptor design, and I actually made a post about this, if y'all remember, how I was scared that the Mutadons were going to replace the raptors in this movie. And without spoiling too much, my fears kind of came true. And again, I was hoping that there would be a justification why, and they don't really give one. Like, you could have replaced the Mutadons with the raptors, and it wouldn't affect anything, really, in this movie. So, and I would have much preferred to have that beautiful raptor design that just kind of feels like a waste. So, that was a big frustration. Same with the D-Rex. They had said in the marketing that, it had this, you were meant to feel sorry for it, and it had all these abnormal... There's none of that in this movie. There's none of that. And that was frustrating to me, because I went into this movie expecting... why did the Velociraptors in Rebirth... Oh, yeah, that... Again, I'm not going to spoil that, but yeah, if you hated the way the T-Rex was treated in JP3, just wait till you see how they treat the raptors in this movie. It is insulting. Ooh, that did not make me happy. Again, especially because they were so beautiful. Like, I loved that raptor design, and I wanted to see it in this movie instead of those Mutadons. But, it is what it is. And again, same with the D-Rex. They didn't say anything about it. And that's kind of the biggest problem with this movie. Even though I enjoyed it, this movie doesn't really say anything. It has nothing to say. It's not really exploring anything. It's kind of like JP3. It's just a standalone thing. And some people may like that. Yes, I thought that too. I thought it left more to be desired. I was just hoping for more substance. I mean, what we get is enjoyable and fun, but I was just, as a fan, really hoping that we would get a little bit more substance to what was going on. Because things just kind of happen. Things just happen. There's no real explanation for why it's happened. It just does. Oh, the Quetz is in a ruined temple. Well, what is it? Why is it in here? It just exists. Why is there a D-Rex? It just exists. So yeah, nothing was explored or expanded upon in terms of lore. So don't expect any like Clayton Fiordi or Best in Slot lore videos trying to connect this to previous stuff, because I don't see how you can, quite frankly, because there's just nothing there to latch onto. It's just an empty adventure movie. Fun, but empty at the end of the day. So, yeah. That's the best way I can say it without... Oh, and another problem is... It was just... It was fun, but it was so predictable. Like, nothing in this movie surprised me in a good way. You know, I was surprised how little was explained or explored, but you know, you could tell who was going to live and who was going to die. You know, you could tell the characters' motivations, even if they were fine. Because, like I said, I did like the three main characters, but you could tell who was going to be the bad guy. You could tell who was going to be the asshole. You could tell who was going to be the comedic character. I mean, it just felt very cookie cutter in its execution. The deaths themselves were pretty violent as far as Jurassic movies go, more violent than we've seen in a while, but yeah, you could just nothing surprising happened with that. And I hated the family. I couldn't stand it. Every time they were on screen, even the raft scene, even though I liked it as a scene, I couldn't care less about this family or why they were here. You know, it just felt like an obligatory thing. So, yeah. I know that my negatives make it seem like I hated the movie, and I didn't. I enjoyed it. I had fun, but yeah, there were just some things that left me frustrated, you know, because I wanted more to what we were getting, especially for the runtime we had. So, yeah. So, and now the big elephant in the room comes, where do we go from here? And that's another big issue, because, you know, this film, again, without going into spoilers, doesn't really set up anything. It just kind of ends. So, yeah, I would say the box office is probably going to determine where the series goes next, but yeah, that's pretty much where I am on it. I'm going to see it again Saturday, so I'm going to do another one of these videos so I can get some more concrete answers, and I may go into spoilers on that next one, because I expect more people to have seen it by the time I do that one. So, yeah, but just initial thoughts coming out. Liked it, had fun, but also was left frustrated and didn't love it, unfortunately. But where does this rank among the other films for me? Yeah, that was another thing. Sometimes it looked great. Like the T-Rex, I thought looked phenomenal. In fact, most of the big dinosaurs, or the big prehistoric creatures, including the Mosasaurus and Quets, because they're not dinosaurs, even though they call them dinosaurs in the movie, that all looked great to me. It was actually kind of the smaller dinosaurs that did not look as good. So, but yeah, I feel like you could really just feel the rushed nature of this movie. This really does feel like a movie that was meant as sort of a band-aid to the poor reception of Dominion. And it kind of makes me wonder if Dominion hadn't been received badly, would this film exist? And I really don't think so. I think the only reason this film exists is because Dominion was received so harshly. So, yeah, like I said, I liked the movie, didn't love it, and that's really all I can say at this point. As far as new era and rebirth for the franchise, I didn't feel that, you know. It just felt like another Jurassic movie. I didn't feel like we were entering a new era or anything. Like, the marketing really blew this out of proportion, and I guess me and other fans kind of just fell for that, and that's on me. So I was just expecting more. So yeah, but that's all I have to say. I'd say go see it. You know, it's a fun time. You know, it's like if JP3 and Kong Skull Island had a baby. That's what this movie is. So if you just want a fun adventure movie, Rebirth will give that to you. Just don't go in expecting a lot of explanation or you know, expansion on ideas or anything in the movie, really. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I know this was, you know, kind of me rambling, because like I said, it was unscripted. I did get this guy though, which I was very happy to get. I got the T-Rex popcorn bucket, which I was very happy to get. So, because when I went on the Cinemark shop, they said it was sold out. So, but I managed to get him, and I managed to get this cool cup. So with the T-Rex on it, like I said, yeah. That's a good explanation, Gojirosaurus. It's more like a 2-hour-long roller coaster. You had fun, but you wish that you wanted more. That's the best way I could say it. I just wanted more. I wanted more expansion on things. So, because, say what you will about the World movies, but at least they tried to expand on the lore. It wasn't always executed good, but at least they tried. So, but this, I was left with more questions than answers. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, but that's all I have to say. Thank y'all for listening, and yeah, look forward to my next talk about this once I see it for a second time, and I can go more into spoilers about what I liked and disliked. So, and I'll probably be able to have a better idea of where it ranks among the other movies for me. Definitely liked it more than Dominion, I can say that. So, because y'all know I hated Dominion. So, that's all I have to say. Y'all take care, and yeah, go see the movie.